Hello and welcome back together to this weekly update on the financial market. My name is Jens, and like every weekly update, I want to cover with you the S&P 500 index, US oil, gold, Bitcoin against the US dollar. We have a look at the weekly, daily and 4-hour time frame and analyze this asset via price action. And I will also have a look about my single stock watch list, and I will cover all the stocks that are marked with red, because there are significant actions I have taken the last week or I will take the next week. So let's start directly in with the weekly time frame and the S&P 500 index. The S&P 500 on the weekly time frame, we can see on this larger picture that we are printing higher highs followed by higher lows. So an intact uptrend at the moment near the all-time high territory. We shortly left this 10-week moving average to the downside and then directly recovered with this nice green weekly candle to the upper side. We had here 4 red weekly candles resetting sentiment. If we break now to the upper side, I think that was enough to continue higher. We had here the MACD cross to the downside on the weekly, but that seems also to reverse here. So for me, on the weekly at least, looking pretty bullish. If we drop one time frame lower to the daily time frame, you can see we had here an ABC corrective move. That's an usual pattern for corrective movements before then continuation to the upper side, at least if we leave that pattern to the upside. MACD on the daily crossed to the upper side, bullish sign, and yeah, because of that you can see also my trading idea here. If we take out point B to the upper side, I want to get long in the S&P 500 index. Stop loss is placed below this ABC corrective movement, risking 1% of my current account balance. The idea is to take partial wins. At the moment I'm reaching 1-to-1 risk reward ratio, so the moment I made my risk as profit, I take 1/3 of the position or a little bit above that from the table, and the rest I will ride higher till we reach nearly the second Fibonacci extension level. That's often a good point to take profits. I used for that the Fibonacci retracement tool measured from the low to the high of the major movement. And yeah, that's the plan so far. If we drop to the 4-hour time frame, you can see it even better. We have here this 4-hour support zone, which works perfectly well with the 200 moving average at the 4-hour time frame. Stop loss, like already said, placed below that. It's a good protection, and this 4-hour downtrend is already broken to the upside. If we take now out point B, I'm pretty sure that will continue higher. Not 100%, you never can be 100% sure. Maybe we'll even get into my position and reverse a little bit, retesting this breakout out of this ABC pattern and then continue from there on higher. That's all possible. For sure, it can also reverse and take me out of my trade, but therefore is the stop loss and limiting of the risk. That's all I have for the S&P 500 index. That's my setup, and I will update you like always in my next video how everything went. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel. Next, US oil. US oil starting also out on the weekly time frame. We can see here the red monthly downtrend line. That one got broken to the upper side. Since then we are moving into a weekly corrective move. You could argue that this is an ABC pattern. Point C at the moment, the lowest point of the movement. For sure we can decline lower, and with that point C would also move lower. So yeah, not sure right now. At the moment everything still trending to the downside. I think there's not so much room left for lower prices in oil. I would speculate more on rising prices if I see the fitting signs for that. If we drop one time frame lower to the daily time frame, you can see I was able to draw in here a daily downtrend line, and that was the first try to get above this weekly downtrend that was news driven. Since then we have collapsed lower. So far no lower low, so point C stays there on the bigger picture, and my idea would be that we will see here a break to the upper side and then continue higher. If we make a lower low here, so take that one out to the downside, then that would speak for lower prices continuation. But I would get really interested in a situation like that. Here I would like to open up a swing trade to the upper side, maybe something like that. It can happen like this, but the market can also print other price charts here, and then we have to adapt to that. But that's at the moment the only trading idea I have in oil, and I stay patient and wait what the market gives to me. Like I said, at the 4-hour time frame, same picture, lower highs and lower lows following each other. So we're still in the downtrend, but at the moment we would see a higher high and a higher low. That would then get interesting for a long setup. That's pretty easy. You just have to be cautious and wait for the setup to occur. If I'm getting into a trade, I will let you know, like always, in the upcoming videos. Next on the list, gold. Gold spot on the weekly time frame measured against the US dollar. We have seen a massive resistance zone back in the days, but once that one got broken to the upper side, we printed higher highs and higher lows following each other, most of the time covered and supported by the 10-week moving average. And the same is happening right now. We have seen a decline, then a rejection higher right at the 10-week moving average. That's pretty supportive right now. So looking bullisher than expected a couple of days and weeks ago. If you drop down to the daily time frame, you can see my expectancy was to see also here an ABC pattern, corrective move back to this solid white daily uptrend line. Combination with the 200 moving average would have been a nice place to get long again. But the market is pretty bullish and market participants want to buy, obviously, gold. Maybe we'll get into a sideways range like we have seen in the past, and then we will break out one day to the upper side, also possible. But I think if point B gets taken out to the upper side, the likelihood of rising prices is there, and that we not will see a corrective move down to the $3,600 level anymore, and that we continue first higher before any other major corrective move to the downside. The pattern repeats itself over and over again. So yeah, I wouldn't bet on falling prices here in gold, even if it's pretty high and a lot of people think it's way too expensive. That one can go on and on and on. Yeah, will I trade that one to the long side? I'm not sure yet. If point B gets taken out, a possible setup would be entry above point B, stop loss maybe below the last significant low on the daily time frame, and then yeah, aiming for 2-to-1 risk reward ratio, maybe taking partial wins from the table once you reach 1-to-1 risk reward ratio, or possible. Do I want to take a long trade for myself? Not sure yet. I have to see how it develops. If we drop down to the 4-hour time frame, it's looking so far pretty bullish. You definitely have to wait to take point B out before thinking about a long trade. Otherwise, it's still possible that we reverse and follow the ABC pattern on a wider frame here and continue lower. Would be my favorite scenario, to be honest. You will see later I have 2 trades or trading setups at the moment active in silver and palladium. So I'm bullish for the metals. But I think at the moment silver and palladium are outperforming gold. Probably the US dollar is weakening, or it looks like it will weaken in the next couple of days and weeks. So that would also speak for the metals. We will see. At the moment, not willing to take a trading setup here because the structure not that clear to me. Like I like to see a clear structure, but you have to decide for yourself. Long trade definitely possible, but it's not a one A plus setup in my opinion. Next on the list, gold, Bitcoin. Bitcoin against US dollar on the weekly time frame. Here we can see we started after the last 70-80% correction, a new uptrend, printing higher highs and higher lows on the weekly time frame. So the uptrend is still intact, even if we see this weekly orange uptrend line broken to the downside at the moment, testing the 0.382 Fibonacci retracement level. The first retracement level, if we turn here, would speak for a continuation of the overall uptrend. The last chance would be the 0.618 Fibonacci retracement level. Everything below that would speak for massive decline for sure. If it's so far, we are way too late to take profits from the table, and the 4-year cycle would be probably already far over. For me, I think the low at the 0.5 Fibonacci retracement level, so around the $72,000 level. If we fall below that one, I think it's over for the 4-year cycle, because with that we printed a lower low on the weekly time frame. And yeah, even here it's massive already. Maximum drawdown was 36%, at the moment standing at 27. And yeah, if we would fall below if we would form a lower low, that would mean that we have been falling about 40%. Yeah, 4-year cycle over or not, that's the question. We got a MACD divergence price to MACD indicator that was calling for a huge corrective move. My idea was that we will stop at this weekly uptrend and continue from there on higher to new all-time high territories, ending the 4-year cycle with a blow-off move to the upper side. That wasn't the case so far. On the daily time frame, you can see we lost this weekly uptrend to the downside. Downtrend still intact, printing lower lows followed by lower highs. We have seen a nice weak sell-off here to the $80,000 level, and then a MACD cross to the upper side. Already have been taking out the 10-day moving average to the upside. At the moment, yeah, testing the prior support, now turned resistance. Maybe we'll turn here and continue lower. This daily secondary white dotted downtrend line is now the new norm. Everything above that, in my opinion, could or has a real chance to turn the trend again to the upper side. A scenario like that would be tradable in my view. Otherwise, I stay cautious now with Bitcoin. Maybe that was the low, but there's a higher chance that we will continue lower, retesting now this broken weekly uptrend line from the downside, and then roll over again and take out the prior low here and continue lower. That would speak for a 4-year cycle high, even if it was not that spectacular like expected. If we drop down to the 4-hour time frame, you can see the secondary 4-hour downtrend line is broken to the upside, testing right now, like I said, the daily support, now resistance zone. And yeah, there's a possibility we take that out to the upper side, but not willing to take trades here because yeah, can well be that this daily downtrend line act then as the final resistance and send prices lower. If we wouldn't see a lower low but a higher low, and then break again higher and get above this daily downtrend line, that would make me pretty bullish again for Bitcoin, because then this here is a bottom formation and will continue higher, and then I will load up again with long positions, and I will let you know, like always in my videos. But yeah, so far more bearish than bullish. That can change, and I was drawing in what has to change that I get bullish for Bitcoin again. Yeah, that's all I have for the 4 major assets I cover every weekend. And now I will continue with the single stocks that are interesting right now. Applied Materials Inc. on the daily time frame. We can see my trade went well so far. The initial take profit target was met. I just was selling partial wins. Let's have a look at the balance history for that. Here you have it. The AMAT stock Applied Materials. I sold half of my position worth $1,145, so a little bit more than 1% of my account balance, and I still have 1,200 in the stock. I moved my stop loss from break even below this corrective movement we have seen there. So if price will now turn, I would still make additionally 0.5% of my account balance or nearly that. But as long as this trend stays intact, I want to ride it higher. And my next target is the first Fibonacci extension level. And slightly below that, I would take the whole profit, so the other 50% of my position from the table, with a nice $2,000 profit, or nearly 2% of my account balance. We are working currently right now on taking out the prior all-time high. If that happens, I think the way is free to the take profit target. Perfect trade, and worked also out well. And yeah, that's all for Applied Materials. Let's continue with new holdings. New holdings on the daily time frame. You can see the cup and the handle formation. The handle was broken to the upper side, new all-time highs. I went in the trade, with a small gap to the upper side, which is pretty bullish, and yeah, already slightly in profit. Stop loss is below the last significant low on the daily time frame, risking 0.5% of my current account balance. I would like to take the first profit from the table once I reach a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio. I take here, I think it's about a third of my position from the table, and then the rest I want to ride higher, working with corrective moves in between and trade my stop loss below significant price action, and ride the trend higher as long as it is willing to continue. Yeah, that's the new entry, a new trade. Still possible. Maybe we'll see a smaller retest coming back down on price again to retest the breakout level. Then you can still enter the trade if you like to do that. Make research and decisions always by yourself. That's all for new holdings. Next, Broadcom. Broadcom Inc. on the daily time frame as well. Nice uptrend, bullish AI stock. We have seen lately pretty bullish price action here, with a couple of retests and pullbacks in between. Lately we had longer lasting sideways consolidation, and once that one was breaking up to the upper side with a bullish daily MACD cross to the upper side, I decided to enter a long position with the stop loss placed below this sideways consolidation. At the moment, minimal profit. I would like to sell half of my position if I reach a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio, and the last 50% I would like to ride them higher to the full 2-to-1 risk reward ratio, or even trade it higher if I see significant price action in between where I could protect my stop loss below. Yeah, that's for Broadcom. Next, Blackstone again. Blackstone Inc. on the daily time frame. We can see we have always massive corrections and then a nice uptrend afterwards. The same was the idea with this massive downtrend. We broke the daily downtrend to the upper side, We had here a flag pattern, continued higher. Here was the first time I went long. Stop loss was below this flag pattern. I got stopped out and then continued lower. So good thing with this stop loss. And now we reached a support zone from prior price behavior, and also the weekly uptrend ain't far away from the last low. We have a MACD cross to the upper side, and if we switch to the 4-hour time frame, you can also see that the 4-hour downtrend was broken to the upper side, and with a MACD divergence to the bullish side. So I decided to get a long stop loss placed below the lowest point of this downtrend, risking 0.5% of my account balance. I decided to take the first profits from the table with half of the position, or nearly half of the position, I think 30-40%, something like that. Once I reached the 101 risk reward ratio, then I would drive my stop loss higher and to continue profiting from this hopefully developing uptrend afterwards. That's the idea, and yeah, so far so good. Next, UPS. United Partial Service. Yeah, long term it was uptrending, but lately we have seen a massive crash above. Since now nearly 3 years, we declined about 65%, but now we met a very important weekly support zone, which was in the past resistance and support. We lost the weekly uptrend, that's for sure, but I'm speculating on a bounce to the upper side because we got a rejection of this important support zone here. So if we drop down to the daily time frame, you can see we have printed lower lows and lower highs, and we had a nice sideways consolidation here. That one got resolved to the upside. MACD was supporting the idea. We've seen a breakout even with a gap to the upper side. Then another ABC correction. I was able to draw a downtrend line above that. 200 moving average is right above this corrective movement. And if we resolve to the upper side, I would like to get long in this position. Stop loss slightly below the 10-day moving average. I would take pretty fast partial wins because we are in a major downtrend, not an uptrend. And I'm speculating here on a smaller reversal, taking half of the position from the table once we reach 101 risk reward ratio, and then trade the position higher. The overall goal is a 3-to-1 risk reward ratio. You can see it better on the 4-hour time frame. Here you can see it better. The actual setup, ABC above point B, I would get long, and below the last corrective move after the first break of this downtrend line, I place here my stop loss. And before we really left this corrective move to the upside, I already take partial wins and move the trade, so to say, risk free, and then everything above that is pure profit. That's the idea. Next, Bank of NT Butterfield and Sons. Bank of NT Butterfield and Sons Limited. Yeah, very special, exotic stock in my view, but I think the price action is interesting. We have here an all-time high, a huge crash to the downside. Then we went up again, printed a higher low, and now also higher highs. So we are in an uptrend. If we zoom a little bit inside, we can see that since May 2023, we are in a nice uptrend, printing higher highs and higher lows with consolidations in between, supported by the 200 moving average. Lately, we retested a daily support zone in combination with the 200 moving average. After we've seen a push higher, corrective move, and now if we see this corrective move taken out to the upper side, I think we will continue this uptrend. Because of that, I would like to get long, slightly above that. Stop loss pretty near, So a tight stop loss below this daily resistance, then turning support zone, and I would take partial wins pretty quickly, use that momentum to take the trade. Yeah, nearly risk-free, not completely, 40% from the table or something like that, and then let the rest run till we nearly reach the all-time high, and then I would take everything from the table, probably. That's the idea on that banking stock. Next, Celsius Holdings. Celsius Holdings Inc. has been in the past a good performing stock, but once it reached its maximum, slightly below $100 per share, we collapsed massively. But since then, we got into a new uptrend, higher highs, higher lows, then a huger correction. I was drawing that also in with the Fibonacci retracement level measured from the low to the high of the movement. We stopped at the 0.618 Fibonacci retracement level in combination with this support zone from the weekly. So pretty strong area of support. And the MACD is changing from red to green, crossing to the upper side, also bullish. So I decide if we see nice momentum shooting now to the upside, I would like to get long. And before the rocket cools off, I would like to take 50% from the table, take the trade risk free, and ride the rest higher if it will continue, and make some nice profit, risking 0.5% of the account balance. Can also happen that we get long and then directly reverse. That's the game. Then a German stock, Bechtle AG. Bechtle AG starting out at the weekly time frame, so you can see the full performance of this stock. It was a pretty hot flyer, but then it cooled off in the year 2021, and we have been in a declining phase. Now we have seen a retest of this weekly support zone. From there on, we bounced and went into a sideways consolidation. The weekly 200 moving average was resistance above the sideways consolidation, now broken out to the upside and taken also out this weekly downtrend. If we have a look at the daily time frame, you can see it in more detail. Here we have a nice sideways consolidation structure that got taken out without a doubt to the upper side, and I decided to went long. The day after was also a green candle, so in slight profit. Stop loss pretty conservative below the complete sideways movement. If we reach the 1-to-1 risk reward ratio, we would like to take partial wins here and ride the rest higher in expectation that we will maybe see an uptrend like in the past after such an impressive long-lasting corrective move. We will see. Target would be the all-time high and maybe some rest of the position even higher. So a trade with a long time horizon. Yeah, that's it for that stock. What now follows is silver and palladium. Silver starting out on the weekly time frame also here, so you can see the bigger picture. We have an all-time high in 1979. The one got slightly taken out in 2011. Since then we collapsed again, and now we have seen finally after a lot of years a new all-time high, and we went pretty high up there. But because I think that looks like a cup and handle in years time frame, there's a possibility that we go higher. Because these metal cycles, if they are going, they're going pretty fast and pretty far. You can see that the 10-week moving average is supporting price at the moment. We had a pullback, stopped at the 10-week moving average and continued with a nice green candle. If we have a look at the daily time frame, you can see that we have here printed a new all-time high. We had also here a smaller cup and handle formation. That's a formation you only have to look at a bull runs or uptrend, because it's a continuation pattern. And yeah, that looks pretty bullish to me. So yeah, but it went also pretty far already above this prior all-time high resistance zone. So to get an entry right now, the risk-reward ratio and the price target would be too far away to get a nice risk-reward ratio, or I would have to take the stop loss very, very tight, and yeah, the risk is then higher to get stopped out. So I have not a buy stop order than usually, but a buy limit order. So if price decides to come down again to this buy limit order, then it gets filled, and I hope that we then get a retest of the breakout level and then a continuation to my take profit target. I can also go at the 4 time frame to see it better. That would be probably also aligning with the 10 4-hour moving average. And yeah, that would be a nice trade. Not sure if we can catch it one or it continues without coming back. We will see, and I will update you like always. Next, Palladium. Palladium also on the weekly time frame, we can see we have tested very important weekly support zone that once was also resistance. We have a weekly downtrend line that was broken to the upper side. We had a long lasting bottom formation before then continuation higher. If we drop down to the daily time frame, you can see that we had here this daily resistance zone. Once taken out, we had a pullback and then a break higher. Now another pullback, and I'm expecting also here then afterwards a break higher. You could argue that this is also an ABC correction, even if that is not really lower than that point. MACD seems it wants to cross to the upper side, so also convicting the idea here. I would like to take my a part of my profits, 1/3 of the position from the table if we reach the 1-to-1 risk-reward ratio. Otherwise, I would like to ride it higher, full potential, maybe 2.5 risk-reward ratio or even higher. We will see. And I think this metal has a lot of potential if you look at prior price development in prior bull runs. Yeah, that's it for my weekly update on the financial market so far. I hope you got something out of this episode and enjoyed it, and I hope you will watch my next videos as well. I'll link you here the playlist of my prior episodes for educational purpose. Till then, bye bye.